I've had to go through the journey of realizing that the way to reach the most amount of people is through the crematories and the aftercare programs, because they have such high numbers, and I've developed a miniature version of my cards that's affordable for them, and they can give them to people. And now, literally just yesterday or 2 days ago, I said, okay, I'm going to have a digital version of this on QR code, because I have people in New Zealand, Australia, England, all over the world saying, Erica, it's $40 for you to ship this deck. What can we do? I said, you know what? You can download it right away. And that is probably the best idea that's happened since I got started, was really utilizing technology and accessibility. And so anyone that's listening now, I'm going to offer a sample download.
Thank you for tuning into The Beautiful Side of Grief today, where you get to hear from those who have suffered unimaginable grief and have gone on to discover the beautiful sides to it. I hope today's episode will provide you with the inspiration, tools, and insights to help you with whatever you are facing, especially if, like most of us, you've been involved in the loss of a beloved pet at some stage in your life. There's a huge hole that is often left behind, as well as an unspoken grief that people are left to suffer in silence with, because it's only a pet. So if you have previously suffered in silence, I have a wonderful guest for you today who is going to take us through her own personal journey, which led to the award-winning Wolfie's Wishes. And hopefully what we discussed today can help you with your own pet grief, past, present, or into the future. So a very warm welcome, Erica Messer. Wonderful to have you today with us from Germany.
Yes, thank you so much. And do you say good day like the Australians do, or do you have a different?
Good day.
Good day?
Good day, mate.
Okay. Yes. Good day, mate. Thank
Probably not. I don't so much,
Okay.
but it is very much a Kiwi thing as well as an Australian thing.
Okay,
So
good to know.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Before we head into talking about your precious cat, Wolfie, I have to know about performing pop and rock covers on your harp and scratching and mixing on the turntables.
Yeah.
Do you do this just for fun, or is that
No.
professional? Do you do it at gigs?
I do that. That's my career as a wedding and event harpist. And I started singing because I would work so hard at classical music and nobody cared. Nobody paid attention or knew what I was doing. And so I said, you know what? This is boring. I want to interact with people. And I started playing music that I loved. So everything from Neil Young to the Beatles. And I would get these reactions of, oh, I know that song. I love that song. So I just took that and ran with it and carved out a niche for myself. And now my career has changed into a grief expert and helping others, which is also fulfilling. And to be honest, it's fun for me. And yeah, I still incorporate the music into my grief offerings. Actually, this week I'm having a virtual memorial service on Instagram. So I'm still using music. I'm still making healing harp playlists now. And yeah, I still perform. I just don't do it as much.
Music just has such a special place in our lives, doesn't it? Its ability to heal, calm, soothe, or wind us up.
Yep. It's like a magic drug. It can bring you up or bring you down. It can do it all.
Yeah. And you playing pop music on your harp reminds me of Vanessa Mae when she came out doing that on her violin.
Yes. Oh, she's such a rock star. I would never compare myself to her, but she really makes that instrument, which is, of course, traditionally classical, into something that people can relate to and appreciate in a different way.
Yes. Because like me, I had never experienced classical music, as certainly not at any performances until I went overseas. And then I fell in love with it. So Wolfie was your beloved pet that kicked all of this off. Can you describe for us the role Wolfie played in your life?
Sure. And I first want to say that, I've had pets in my life since a little kid in second grade, and no loss really ever affected me like Wolfie did. And, and I've looked at why. because I asked myself that, what's this about?
Mhm.
But, he was my COVID companion. I adopted him during the pandemic. And I think a lot of people can relate to that animal became our friend, and we're together 24/7. And I happened to help him heal from a really bad eye infection. He was still a little bit blind, but as a kitten, he had eye herpes. So that also created a special bond, knowing that we got him to keep his eye. Yeah. And then, he died tragically and suddenly due to an accident my friend made. And so I had to watch him suffer, and there was nothing I could do. So you combine all that together, and it was just a real poop storm of a day, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a special little friend, and we'd play fetch. He was not like other cats I'd met. And yet it's okay. It's okay to love and lose. And that's part of life. And I wouldn't trade that time with him for anything. Don't regret it at all.
How long ago was it?
He passed away just 2 years ago, actually. So I celebrate his death anniversary every year with a cake and honor him for inspiring me to continue a movement that others have started to validate pet loss grief. I love your opening. It was beautiful. Thank you. And we've got to change that conversation and dialogue if it was just a pet, because they're not.
Oh, gosh. For some people, that is their link to life, with the pets that they have around them. And gosh, and I understand that. Like, we can't just view them just as pets because they have such a special role in our lives. And so tell me why, and I'm going to quote you here.
Sure.
Why it's okay to lose your shit when they die.
Oh, thank you for swearing. I wanted to say that a minute ago and I just went with poop. Because let's look at how the relationship of animals has changed in just our lifetime. So when I was younger, we had a dog, but he stayed outside a lot. They slept in like the dog house, right? Remember that term?
Yep. In the dog house.
Yeah.
Probably been there once or twice.
And cats are also kind of kept outdoors. They weren't invited to sleep with us. And a lot of people had them for killing mice. Like, that's the historic use of a cat, right? And need for one. So now, today, if you look on social media, people are having birthday parties for dogs where they invite other dogs and they have a cake for dogs. We have costumes. We take them trick-or-treating. They go everywhere with us. So it's the people that really don't have pets that are still in that mentality of, it's just a pet. What's the big deal? What's your problem? I think the people that incorporate them into their families now, it's like I've seen videos where they're at the dinner table at Thanksgiving, like golden retrievers.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah. So when you lose a family member, which is what they are now, you lose your mind, especially because we've gotten them from stages from puppies, right? Some people got to pick them out and know a breeder, right? And then you see their whole lifespan. We don't see that with humans. So look at all the changes that have happened, right? And so to lose a pet suddenly, like I did, or to know that they're ill and we've got to make the decision to end their life, either way, that's one of the hardest things to go through.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And some of them just capture your heart more so than others, don't they?
Yeah.
They just have a way of just getting in under your skin and taking all the attention, a bit like humans, really. Eh? You've got those people that just manage to always be the center of attention, which was my daughter, by the way. I was looking back at photos and she always managed to be in the center of the photo. And I was going, the heck? But that was her. Here I am.
Mm-hmm.
And animals are like that too. They just capture your heart.
And
So,
sorry to interrupt, but I've got Peachy on my lap now, and he's sitting on half the laptop. So if that's not case in point, I don't know what.
Yeah. Here I am. I'm taking over. Yeah, this is where exactly. I get you. Hey, I was just going to ask you, how did you know that you were being really affected by Wolfie's passing? Because you shared with me prior to us going on air that you'd had other pets.
Yeah.
And you'd lost other pets.
Yeah.
Yet somehow Wolfie, his loss was profound, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think for the reasons I mentioned before. And also I've to so many people around the world to understand that there's now a term we use called a soul animal, where you have a bond with them. And I'm going to say it for the other people that are ashamed to say it. We believe that they're more than an animal, and that's okay. There's going to be people that don't understand that and think that I'm crazy for saying that. I don't care. There's going to be so many more people that understand that and believe that these are special beings and they're special to us. So to lose something like that is beyond description, really. And I knew, so here's what was happening the day that he died. My brain said, okay, your friend made a mistake. You got to forgive her. I'm willing to forgive her. She's human. Worse things have happened today in the world than what I'm going through. So I was trying to get rationalize, put things in perspective. And I said to myself, I have to accept what just happened. But my emotions and my body were in complete opposite of that. I was a wreck emotionally and I couldn't regulate my emotions. I was having suicidal ideation only because I knew that I didn't want to be in this pain. So I was very confused and conflicted and struggling just to get through the day. And I knew this was bad. I knew that this was not going to be okay. And I was reminded that there are people that are stuck in grief the rest of their lives. They don't know how to move through it. And I was terrified. So I had a lot going on. And luckily, because I'm self-employed, I was able to give myself the space to unravel all of that. And it didn't take me very long to realize that I was not going to be okay unless I got treatment or help or guidance. And unfortunately, I didn't know where to look. How does one know what one needs when one is in a crisis, a mental health crisis? And I have bipolar disorder. I've had addiction issues. I've been treated for ADD and a learning disability since I was 14. I had a lot at right? So you wrap all that together in a package, and it's just like that. I'm handed that by the universe. Okay. Wow. So I started looking for books. I actually started looking for daily affirmation cards. It's tools that I could just start working on. Out of thousands of books that are out there, how does one choose a book when you're in a crisis?
Or can you even read a book when you're in a crisis?
Yep.
I couldn't read.
Right. So if I can't even focus, had I had a day job, I would have been fired. I'm confident. I was leaving the faucet on, the keys in the door, had no appetite, couldn't function. Right. So yeah, there's the question of how much of this book do I have to read? It usually takes a couple weeks, maybe a day if you're really focused to read a book. How do I know it's going to work for me and give me what I need? Because I don't even know what I need. So I was forced to sit right here in the same spot in this chair where I sat every morning with Wolfgang. Now I got Peachy in my lap, have my candle, have my tea, and just ask myself, okay, let's take some breaths. I know I can find a way out of this. I know there's a solution. I'm just going to be patient and look and look and look and commit to healing and find that way out of this dark, dark hole. And I did.
Before we go there, about how you did that, let's just go back a few steps, because I love that you mentioned soul connections, because one of the things I wanted to ask you was, are you familiar with Karen Anderson and the book she wrote on pets in the afterlife? She talks about the pure love of animals and that they're only interested in the positives when they come through, when they come through and reading for people.
Oh, wow.
And they're like your beautiful guardians, and they're focused on the fun that you had together. They never really dwell on the passing.
Okay.
And so a lot of people get hung up on having to put a treasured pet down, or in your instance, how that happened, that can be really scarring and you can focus on that for a long time. But she mentioned that they don't. She said, no, they just pass over and that's the way it is. And they don't really mind the mechanism of the passing and that they'll be with you no matter what. So I found that super, super cool to listen to because, like my daughter comes through to me and she has since her accident, like straight after her accident. So I love that our pets come through too and that they're with us. So don't ask me about the ins and outs of all that communication thing. I think it's just a mental telepathy thing, like with our loved ones. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And I had to confront my beliefs about how am I going to make sense of this? And how am I going to interpret what happened? How am I going to feel connected to Wolfgang without using grief as a connection? Right. So I have found that there are so many people that are open to animal communication. And it was a little jolting to me to hear that at first. And I was judgmental and went, oh, that can't be real. What are they doing? And you know what? I came around full circle to say, oh, this is helping them. Who cares?
Exactly.
How or why or what the judgment or stigma is. It is helping them heal. And that's the beauty in all of the tools and resources that are out there. And believe me, I'm tempted. But it's funny, I talked to a friend who's the first podcaster that invited me, Liz Murdoch. And I said to her, Liz, I really want to use your services, but there's 2 reasons I'm not going to. One, because I'm going to get addicted to it and you're expensive, right? You're going to become my new drug. You're going to become my drug of choice. And I know that about myself, right? I have addiction issues or had. And the other thing was, what if I hear something, even if it's so great that my head spins and I can't sleep and I've almost like unlocked something, right? I just know that for me personally, it's too dangerous, but I support it. I ask around who are people using? What are your thoughts? I have this conversation in my Facebook group. So it's beautiful. And I'm so glad that you've had a great experience and have a connection to your daughter. I think that's wonderful.
And that's why I went exploring about pets. And this is how I ended up listening to Karen Anderson because her book, when she wrote her book, she just thought, but like you, is this going to be accepted? What's the reaction going to be to it? And it was overwhelming. So this is a silent grief that people are just chomping at the bit to know more about and to learn more about. And and like you say, it doesn't matter what gives somebody comfort as long as it's giving them comfort and peace around their beautiful pet. So tell us, what sorts of things really helped you?
Well, so, like I said, I'm in Germany, so I also had a lack of resources in English, a lack of a little bit of a community because we had only lived here a year at that time during the pandemic. So I didn't have a big community of support. So again, sitting in my chair, asking myself, what do I need to do to heal? I would wait for answers. And one of the first things that came to me, which I found is actually very common, is to write a love letter, write down Wolfgang's story, write down the things that I'm worried about forgetting, write down the things that I enjoyed about our bond and relationship. And in that, I would laugh and cry and realized, oh, this was such a good idea because I can put those memories away and, memories fade over time, but I can read that anytime I'm feeling disconnected or fearful of losing him. And I haven't read it. I haven't read it in 2 years, but I know it's there and I know it's valuable to me. And I know that I will laugh and cry when I read it again and go, oh yeah. Another thing that helped me was to create a safe place to keep all of his videos and photos. So in 3 places, just in case. I've also printed some out should we have a solar storm and lose technology. How simple are those? Anyone can do those anywhere. So I would share these with my mom. I was calling my mom every day for that comfort and understanding. And she knows what it's like. She always says they leave paw prints on her heart. And she said, I think you should make this deck that you couldn't fly. And that is part of my story. But I did start to ask myself and share with her and ask her for ideas on ways to heal. So that's just a couple of examples.
Oh, that's wonderful. Where's your mum? So is she back in the States?
She is. She's in Florida, and she runs the business with me now. And, I do a lot of things virtually. Thank goodness. Look at us talking to each other because of Zoom. How beautiful is that? So I don't need to physically be there very much.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Yeah, because that would have been extra tough too, like being so far away from your mum. So,
yeah,
it's great that you can communicate like this, which we didn't used to be able to.
Right.
Without it costing an absolute arm and a leg. I don't know. I think you're not as old as I am, but I remember the days where you'd put a timer on so that you wouldn't go over a certain amount of money, because before you knew it, your phone bill was hundreds of dollars. Right. It was crazy. But now we can talk without it costing anything. So that's wonderful as well. So you developed Wolfie's Wishes. So tell us what that is all about.
Yeah. So that conversation with her started with, I think you should make, these affirmation cards and write down what you're doing. And I said, no, I don't want to. That's a lot of work, Mom. And I don't really know how to market something like that or make it. And it sounds like too much work. And she said, okay, well, all right. And we'd move on. And a couple of days later, I really like what you're doing. And I think what you have learned in this short amount of time can help a lot of people. No, Mom, I don't want to. I'm grieving. I want to be in my grief and make sure that I'm going to be okay. And so on and on this went. And she's so gentle and cute about it. And I reached out. I researched. I have a therapist. I reached out to her. She wasn't really helping with this. She'd be like, oh, yeah, that toddler cat, he was wild. It just wasn't feeling like I was going to get the answers I needed. So I found a pet loss counselor. I didn't know they existed. And that was a scary leap of faith to go, okay, I'm going to call this person that specializes in this. What's that about? So long story short, actually, it was a short amount of time, so it wasn't even a long story. But she said, Erica, I know you've told me about your mental health issues, but everything you're experiencing is normal. Everybody goes through what you're going through. And I was like, you got to, you're just telling me that so I feel normal. Really, what's going on? She said, these grief storms you're having, the suicidal ideation you're having, the depression, all of these symptoms are normal. And I took a pause and went real quick, connected the dots that if I feel this way, and other people do, and we're not talking about it, that's not okay. And if I had such a hard time finding the resources I needed, including the trail that led me to her, that's not okay. And I immediately called my mom and said, you're right. I don't know how to do this, but let's do it. Will you help me? And she said, sure. And there's the beginning of Wolfie's Wish. So I flew home. I brought the cards on little pieces of paper and said, here, Mom, read these. What do you think? Will you write some? She said, no, this is all you. This is your journey. I'm just going to support you on it. So I narrowed it down to 30 cards to be read once a day, passed them around to everyone I knew, and they started writing checks. Said, can't wait to see these made. And I'm going to cry right now. Nothing like that has ever happened in my life. And so I started a GoFundMe and I said, all right, friend, or you want this to happen? Here's the account. And within a week, I had about $6,000. Like, what?
Wow.
So I started a bank account. I formed an LLC. I was like, here we go. I don't know what I'm doing. I've heard a lot of gurus and self-help experts say things like, have a vision, know where you want to go. And it's okay. Let go of the process of knowing how to get there, because you can drive your car at night in the dark from point A to point B and not see the whole path, but see just enough. Isn't that a beautiful concept?
Do you know what? That is what I am doing right at this moment. I gave up my job and I am taking that leap of faith, just doing what I need to do. and just trusting that the rest is going to be revealed. So I love that. And that was so pivotal in your journey for this to be successful. It's like the universe was waiting for this and it just all aligned for you. And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. And it really gave me hope. It gave me something to focus on. And I think when one is of service to other people and have really good intentions, things are effortless in a lot of ways. The only resistance, Helen, has been my own thoughts and doubts and fears. That's it. That's
Always.
it.
We're our own biggest enemy, aren't we?
Yeah. And I'm going through that today because my mom and I funded this. We got that initial kick and I have sold harps. I have done what needs to be done to get this going because I'm so rewarded by it. I'm so fulfilled by it. Marketing them and starting a business is a challenge, and I like the challenge. But, here we are 2 years later, and I'm still figuring out how to make this a sustainable living for myself. And I'm okay with that and not knowing because and I don't mean to get into this part and I don't want to dwell on this, but I ask people, like, am I doing the right thing? Should I stop? And everyone says, no, just be patient. No, just keep going.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but it's also exciting because what if they're right? And I tell myself all the time, I wake up and say, if today was the last day and I lost it all, would I still want to have done what I've been doing? And the answer is always yes. And
there you go then.
if I sacrificed all my personal funds for this, would it have been worth it? Yes. I've helped so many people and myself. That journey in this 2 years has been invaluable.
Oh, look, I'm having a systemic response to what you're saying because it's keen to my heart. Because what you're doing by sharing this is being really super vulnerable and you're being really authentic. So you're sharing, like some people will get on and go, oh yeah, we developed this and it's an instant success sort of thing, but they forget to share, all the effort that went in behind the scenes and all the times that you doubted yourself and all those times you needed your friends to support you and just give you that extra impetus to just keep the journey going. So, girlfriend, I am so very proud of you.
Thank you.
Because what you said, it speaks to your heart. Your soul knows that this is the right thing to be doing. So yes, and it's just a case of more people hearing about it because there are so many animal lovers out there who don't even know about you, don't even know. And it's more than just the affirmation cards. And this is what I love about your website. So share with us what else you offer.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I realized I had some feedback along the way that some people said, I'm not going to read something tactile every day. And I had the total opposite. People saying, I love that this is tactile. So I really took to heart the feedback I was getting and realized that I needed to have digital options. I needed to have other ways to reach people in helping them in ways they need. So I started this Facebook support group and it's just growing every day. We get in there and talk and share and validate each other and show pictures and ask questions. On the admin team, I've got 3 pet loss counselors because I don't have all the answers and I'm not qualified. And I've started a companion journal. So writing has been a great part of my journey, and I know it's helpful for a lot of people. I'm now starting audio recordings of the principles that I've learned, and I'm looking for a platform to release those, whether it's like a video subscription or audiobook. I'm not sure. I've brought in the music. I've got a healing harp playlist that anyone can listen to. I've got the Wolfie's Wish love letter template you download, and it's a beautiful stationery with paw prints in case people don't want to write on scrap paper. So those are just some of the things that I've developed. And I'm always asking everyone in the industry, from the pet sitters to the veterinarians to the crematory operators, what do you need? What do you need that's not there? And how can I find a way to get it for you? And I can't tell you how excited I am to wake up every day and have a new challenge and a new way to live my life. Really, it's a gift.
See, look, I even think about, as soon as you were talking there, I think about one of your beautiful affirmations on when the remains of an animal are gifted back to their owner, and how touching that would be, that somebody's pet means so much that somebody made the effort to put a beautiful gift card and affirmation there for them. Love that. So yeah, I really think you're on the right track, eh?
Well, I finally found that, and I appreciate you giving this a platform, because it is about word of mouth. It is about knowledge, and I can't carry this message all by myself. So thank you. But also, I've had to go through the journey of realizing that the way to reach the most amount of people is through the crematories and the aftercare programs, because they have such high numbers, and I've developed a miniature version of my cards that's affordable for them, and they can give them to people. And now, literally just yesterday or Wednesday, 2 days ago, I said, okay, I'm going to have a digital version of this on QR code, because I have people in New Zealand, Australia, England, all over the world saying, Erica, it's $40 for you to ship this deck. What can we do? I said, you know what? You can download it right away. All right. Please don't share the file because it's invaluable. But here you go. Print this out right now and get to work. And that is probably the best idea that's happened since I got started, was really utilizing technology and accessibility. And so anyone that's listening now, I'm going to offer a sample download, right? So you can see what this is about. You can see if the cards are right for you. Do you like affirmations, tips, and tools? And if not, head over to my website. We've got book references. We've got YouTube videos with experts. We've got a blog. We've got podcasts to listen to. I don't want to name everything, but wolfieswish.com.
I know it's extensive.
Yeah, and it's growing. And if anyone is listening and has an idea and wants to give me some suggestions or feedback on how I can reach and help more people in New Zealand or anywhere, my email's on there. I would give out my cell phone. That's probably not a good idea on that podcast.
Maybe that's just a little bit too accessible.
A little bit. I would be around the clock answering calls.
And I do apologize, because I was calling it Wolfie's Wishes.
That's okay.
Not Wolfie's Wish.
But it's plural. It's totally more than one thing. And my mom came up with that name, by the way. We were just going to be called Grief Comfort Cards, and it's too generic. So I said, Mom, we got to have an original name. And she's like, oh, Wolfie's Wish. And I said, what's that? And she's like, his wish is for all of us to heal. And I started crying.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh my gosh. My mom is the best. She's got such a big heart and really is patient and loving that I don't know where I'd be without her guidance. And I know she's touched other people as well. People just love her. She's great. Her name's Bonnie. Shout out to Mom.
Yes. Yeah, shout out to Mom. She sounds beautiful.
She is.
I think it's no accident that you have those types of people in your life, and
well, I'm lucky.
It's very special.
I'm lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Not lucky. I think that you probably deserve that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think things don't happen by accident. So, can you recommend some self-care practices that others can consider when they either lose a treasured companion, or they need to make that dreadful decision that, okay, it's time?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to address the listeners and say that if you're having any thoughts of self-harm, please seek professional help. There's hotlines. They're easy to find. Or reach out to a therapist or counselor, or just tell someone that cares about you. So I want to say that first and foremost. And on the other side of it, if you're not having those thoughts or feelings, great. There's a lot of accessible help. And I think putting aside time and space to process your grief in a way that is meaningful and helpful to you is the first thing you can do. And I can't tell people what that is. They've got to ask themselves, what's going to help me through this process? Is it a vacation? Is it time alone? Is it time with people? And just sit and find out and navigate those first few steps. And sure, self-care practices as simple as baths, meditation, yoga, exercise, nature, all those healing tools available, energy healing, right? I went through Reiki 2 as part of my addiction recovery, Reiki level 2, and it was a beautiful experience for me. I pulled those tools out. I got all my crystals out. I did everything I could find to help myself. Juice cleanses, but also brownies. And I did it all. I did it all. And so I want to give people permission that if you need to indulge in some, quote, bad foods, do it. Don't make it a habit for the rest of your life. But let's look at ways that are helpful in the moment without getting us in jail or literally killing ourselves. And I'm sorry to be so dramatic, but this is from my experience. I had to look at, okay, what are some things that are not going to have long-term consequences that I can do right now that may not be approved by my doctor? Let's just look at what's at stake and what I need to do. So I just encourage people to do that. And if you're not even sure where to go from there, consult friends, family, or professionals to help you. Download these Wolfie wish cards, but whatever can start you on your journey.
And I think if they just go check out your website, and that's just going to take them down that path and
thank you.
Hopefully find the thing that's going to work for them, because there are so many suggestions that you have there. And like you say, just the blogs, they themselves are a source of really good information. And, those videos by pet counselors, is it?
Mm-hmm. Pet counselors.
Some by pet counselors.
In-home euthanasia. Yes. So I do want to address the people that are planning to end their pet's life, that know that they're ill or senior. So my pet loss counselor and I are about to release anticipatory pet loss cards, to address stage. But also on the website, I've started building in-home euthanasia references to veterinarians and information on quality of life checklists, and people like the senior dog doc on Instagram, Monica Tarantino, that can provide you with the information and tools you need to make that decision ultimately. When is the right time? And how can I make this decision without hating myself? How can I see that I'm doing the best I can for this animal with what I have and the tools that are available to me today? That animal could have been in a shelter and never adopted. That animal, your pet, could be stray. And look at all that you've provided for that animal. And so I want to give permission for people to let go of the feeling of guilt and blame, because you've given that animal a gift that they could have not had. And that goes both ways, right? I look at all the lessons I've learned from Wolfgang. I only had 1.5 years with him. And look how lucky I was to find him.
And look where it's led you.
Look where it's led me.
How has your life changed?
How is it the same? I can't answer that. It's the lessons that I learned, which even go as far as look how lovable I am, just as I'm not a model. I'm not perfect in any way. I have the stigma of mental illness, but my pet loved me no matter what. Why can't I love myself that way? And I'm working towards that. And that's a very personal and vulnerable thing to share. But I'm an open book now. And I want to speak to the people that also feel that and maybe are suffering from either physical or mental disabilities. We are lovable and perfect just as we are. I had to have Wolfgang show me that. Not my mom, not my friends. I had to have this pet. So that's the biggest lesson I think that I've learned in my life. And I hope to really believe it one day, every day. I'm human, so I have my moment, but I'm getting there.
And this is what I really love about speaking with you today, Erica. It's just that vulnerability that you're sharing with us. That's going to spark something in listeners and enable them to be equally as vulnerable, because I think that's the key to it. Let's be real about how we're feeling let's be real that this wee precious soul touched our life in ways that we couldn't even begin to explain. That they made us feel whole, they made us feel loved. They just loved us unconditionally. And those things are so important. And I feel you. I feel you.
Thank you. And I think it goes without being said, but I want to say it anyway, that anybody with any kind of disability can also do things, right? I've doubted myself and wondered, do I have what it takes to start this business and see it through? Do I have the stamina and persistence and focus? I don't know. And I didn't know those answers, but look, it's been 2 years and I'm going stronger than ever. So I want to show people and share the story that we can have all kinds of, I don't really know what the word is, issues, disabilities, false beliefs, labels.
Yes, a lot of that.
That's not holding me back. It's actually made me stronger.
Yeah. No, I believe that. I've been through so much in my own life. And I've reached a stage where I'm really calm and peaceful. And all of those trials and tribulations that I've been through have got me to this point, because from them have stemmed enormous growth, personal growth, the ability to look inward and say, what is it that I need? Because I was looking outside so much. And then I realized actually it was within. So yes, I agree with you. It doesn't matter what you got. Nobody's immune from that. And I think we should be, this is just me personally, living without judgment and condemnation of others and where their journey's at. So before I go on to my little soapbox, I'll hop up for a moment. And, is there anything else we haven't covered that you think is important for our listeners to hear?
I do. I think that your listeners understand the depth of pet loss grief and relate and validate. And I want them to know that it is important. But also, let's speak to the people that don't understand for a second and let them know that it's not okay to say it was just a pet. Even not understanding is okay, but to step up and say, I don't really get what you're going through, but how can I support you and show up for you because I care about you and I want to know what I can do to support you. Like, let's shift that conversation and let's allow some paid time off of work for those people that are grieving any loss. Let's show up for them and provide mental health services or references or resources. Let's change the dynamic around pet loss grief. So I wanted to say that, and then that there's a path to heal. No matter where anyone is at in their stages of grief, maybe they lost their pet a decade ago and they buried all those feelings and somehow just trudged through. It's okay. It's say, open up that box with the right support and really process your grief and learn from it and heal your heart. If I did it with all the challenges that I was facing, forgiving my friend, where does the list start? I know other people can do it too.
Yeah, great advice there. Okay, we're going to finish off with a couple of questions I ask everyone. And what is the best thing that's happened to you so far today?
Today? Oh,
it's an early morning for you.
No, thank you. Because I always start my day with that. Like, what is good? What am I grateful for? Really? I have this candle that when I was with my mom in Florida, we went shopping. I said, Mom, I want to get a candle to honor Wolfgang with every day. And I've used the same candle and it's been out of stock. And yet I found it and it got delivered yesterday about 5, burning right now. I'm so grateful to have found that because it's a connection to Wolfgang and my grief journey. So that's, you know what? You said one thing. I'm just going to go with that. Small and simple.
Beautiful.
But it makes me feel so good.
Yeah. So my next question was, what is something that you're most grateful for?
I think I'm grateful for all the support around me and that my husband let me adopt 2 sisters. And so now we have 3 and 1 is always available for a snuggle. That's probably, pets do so much for our hearts and well-being. it's really hard to be in a bad mood while you're petting or playing with an animal. So
And the purring
whatever
away.
it is, whether you're playing fetch, you're going for a walk, you're just chilling with your dog. It can be anything, a rabbit, a bird, whatever your pet of preference is. Look at that great comfort that they provide us. So I'm most grateful for that. And Peachy looks at me right now as I say that. I don't know why. He was asleep and now he's looking at me like, yeah, you better not forget. I don't know what that look is.
What is your go-to when you have moments in your day that turn to custard or are not going so well?
That's a really good question. I've made a new rule for myself that if I can't shake out of a bad emotion or thought process, and I have tools to help me with that, then I just take the day off and I cancel appointment. It's not worth showing up, being in a negative space. I don't bring anything good to that, including myself. So my new rule is to ask myself, okay, what's the best thing I can do right now? Is it a walk? Is it a snack? Is it a nap? Is it going to a museum? And I luckily have the luxury to do that. I haven't done it yet, maybe once or twice, but I'm going to give myself a get out of funk free card. And I encourage other people to do that. Write it down and make it if you need to and put it in a box and get it out and hand it out to people to say, this is my password today. I'm not going to be good at what I'm doing. I need a mental health day.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just been upfront and honest about it, isn't it? So we're going to have the links to all your social media, but just run us through the best way that our listeners can reach you to find out more about Wolfie's Wish.
I think going to the website and seeing what resonates with someone there. I'm also very active on Instagram, and I'm at a point where I can answer everything personally. I don't think it'll be long before I have to get some help. But those two places, I'd love for someone to give a shout out and follow on Instagram. I post a lot of helpful tools, and I think there's a real great sense of community that I have found through that.
Yeah, that's great. And you've got your group too.
Oh, yeah. So, that's what I mean.
Really
when you dig around on the website, you'll find something that resonates. And we've just started this in 2 days. I don't know when your podcast is coming out, so I don't want to name days of the week or month, but in 2 days, we're starting our first pet loss support group over Zoom with those counselors that I mentioned. And that's going to be a regular thing. So if that resonates with someone and they want to come and talk to other people and, virtually face to face, please come. Everyone is welcome.
Yeah, it's the importance of community in grief, isn't it?
Yep.
Being surrounded by like-minded people. Erica, what an absolute treasure you are, filling a niche for so many people who feel so lost without their best friends by their side.
Thank you.
And I have to wish you all the very, very best with the continuing success of Wolfie's Wish.
Thank you.
And what you're doing is so needed. So thank you very much for your time.
And thank you for giving this platform to people to air out and interview many people. I mean, you're reaching so many thousands of people around the world. So kudos and thank you to you as well.
You're so very welcome. Take care.
Thanks for listening. I hope you got some real value from this episode. If there's a topic you'd like covered, click on the Beautiful Side of Grief at gmail.com link, or go into the beautifulsideofgrief.com website, where you can also leave a review. To get notified of new episodes, hit the subscribe button. And if you know of somebody who could benefit from this episode, please share. And until next time, please be kind to you and take good care.